What's up, guys? This is my Last of Us Episode 5 review, and this was a really good episode. One of my favorites, probably is my favorite episode. What I like about this episode is that it makes the events of Episode 4 make more sense, because now you get more context of what was going on. So this episode 5, it starts off like 10 days before the events of Episode 4, where it shows how the hunters in Kansas City, or I don't know if they're hunters or it's just like some sort of rebellion. But these people, it shows how they defeated Fedra and basically took back over Kansas City. And it shows what Sam and Henry were going through during those 10 days before Ellie and Joel showed up in Kansas City. It showed how Henry and Sam were working together with that doctor that we saw in Episode 4, the one that Kathleen killed. And it showed them hiding out and how they were running out of food. And then it shows Henry and Sam's perspective of what happened when Joel and Ellie finally entered the city and ended up getting ambushed. You get to see the ambush from Henry's point of view, which I thought was done very well. And basically, Henry saw an opportunity to team up with Joel and Ellie, and they end up doing that. And both actors that the ones that played Henry and Sam, they did a good job. Still not sold on the Kathleen character. I mean, yeah, in this episode you do get the reason why Kathleen wanted Henry dead, which was because Henry basically snitched on Kathleen's brother to Fedra because Henry needed medicine for Sam because Sam had leukemia. And, you know, Henry did what he had to do to save his little brother, which is understandable. But it does make sense why she was angry with Henry. So I'm glad that I got information on, you know, what the history is between Henry and Kathleen. I did like how you get to see, well, first of all, Joel and Henry, they went through the sewers and they ended up at that place, which is just like the video game, that underground school and nursery, which looked just like it did in the video game. I thought that was well done. You even see a picture of Ish, which was a character that you can read about in the notes in the video game. Then after that, they make it out the sewers. They end up in the suburbs area. Only difference is that in the TV show, they're going through the suburbs at night, whereas in the video game, it was in the daytime. They run into that sniper, just like in the video game. And the sniper was one of Kathleen's henchmen. And basically he let them know that where Joel, Ellie, Sam, and Henry were. And all hell broke loose when Kathleen and her men showed up. Ellie, Henry, and Sam were running for their lives, and you had Joel using the sniper rifle that he just got from the sniper. And that part was just like the video game. And then when the infected showed up, man, that was intense, because I wasn't expecting that many infected to come out of that hole in the ground. It was a lot of them. And man, let me tell you, that bloater was every bit as dangerous as the video game version. The only difference is that this bloater in the series doesn't throw the acid spores, but this bloater is super strong. And he even did his signature head rip or face rip move that he does in the video game. And they even showed a child clicker. I wasn't expecting that. That child clicker was dangerous. And that was actually how Kathleen got killed, was by the child clicker. That whole action scene was well done with the infected. And it actually makes them more dangerous in the show because of that whole hive mind and how they like to travel in hordes, because Kathleen's men didn't stand a chance against that horde of infected. And you could tell that the infected were winning that battle, and it looks like they were heading back to town. So anybody that was left in Kansas City most likely was going to get killed by that horde of infected. So then the last part of the episode, which I knew what was going to happen because I played the video game. In the video game, Sam got bit by one of the infected, and Henry had to kill his brother. This happens in the show, but the way they do it is different. And they actually made a little change that I thought actually made it more dramatic, and it just hits harder because of the changes that they made. What made it extra sad for me was that in the show, Sam shows Ellie the bite mark, whereas in the video game, Sam kept it a secret. He just kept it to himself, so nobody knew that he was infected until after he already turned and attacked Ellie. And what makes this scene extra sad was when Sam told Ellie, or showed her the bite mark, she tried to help Sam out because she showed Sam that she was immune. She showed Sam her bite mark, and she said that she's immune and that her blood is like medicine and that she can help him out. So she cuts herself in the hand and rubs her blood over his bite mark, hoping that that's going to save Sam. And what made it extra sad was Sam had asked Ellie, would she stay up with him and not fall asleep? And she said, yeah. But of course, Ellie fell asleep. She wakes up. She sees Sam sitting on the bed, and he's looking towards the window, and she touches his shoulder, and then he attacks her. And then basically everything that happens afterwards is just like the video game. Sam attacks Ellie. Joel tries to grab his gun, but Henry hurry up and grabs it and forces Joel to sit down. And they did this scene perfectly because it was just like the video game. You could see Joel's desperation to get to Ellie. You see Henry in the messed up situation of he doesn't want to see his brother get hurt, but he knows that his brother is infected, so he had to make a split-second decision, and he shot his own brother. And you could just see the shock in Henry's face. He was like, what have I done? And then he puts the gun to his head and he kills himself. So it's just like the video game. Now, this whole scene hits harder in the TV show for two reasons. Earlier in the show, Henry said that he's never been violent with nobody. He's never shot anybody. Because when he pointed the gun at Joel and Ellie at the beginning of the episode, it wasn't even loaded. So it's kind of ironic that the first person that Henry actually killed was his own brother. And what makes it even sadder is that Sam is much younger in the series than he is in the game, because in the game, Sam is like 12 years old. But in this TV series, Sam is 8, so he's quite a bit younger. And it just, seeing that whole scene play out the way it did, it just hits harder. And then to see the shock on Ellie's face of what happened. Then they showed Joel and Ellie, Joel, Barry, Sam, and Henry. And Ellie and Joel, they continue on their way to go to Wyoming. So I thought this was a really good episode. It was really dramatic, had awesome action. The changes that they made to certain things made sense and actually made the situation more dramatic. And it was a really good episode. So I would have to give this episode a 9.5 out of 10. And that's all I got to say about that.